Hi, good evening. My name is Katrina Albright, and it is March 5th, 2021. My presentation today is about the integumentary skin system, or the skin. It's composed of two components. So we have the skin itself, and then we have the accessory structures. Those accessory structures include hair, nails, and glands. Our skin has multiple roles. Some of the roles that our skin plays is protecting us from environmental hazards. It stores lipids. It's going to synthesize some vitamin D for us. It's also going to help us with thermoregulation. Our skin, or the cutaneous layer as it's called, consists of the epidermis and the dermis. The epidermis is going to be that most superficial, what we can see. So that's going to be the most superficial layer of our integumentary system. It's going to protect the underlying dermis, has some permeability regulation, so that water loss, it's going to regulate that. It's going to work on defending our body from pathogens trying to enter our body. So it really does have that protective quality about it. Also, when we think of our skin, we think of our sensory receptors. So temperature, pressure, pain, touch. Those receptors are in our skin. Our second layer is going to be our dermis layer, which is going to sit just underneath our epidermis. So that has the two layers, the papillary, which is going to nourish that epidermis layer above it, and then the reticular layer. The reticular layer is going to store our lipids. It also has those sensory receptors that we were just talking about. It has those in them. So it also works with our body and thermoregulation. When we're talking about the second components of the integumentary system, or our skin, we're talking about the hair, nails, glands. So the hair follicles, they produce hair that protects our scalp, that protects our head. They also produce a hair that works with sensing gentle touch. So if a bug is on our skin, get off, it's on our leg, again, protecting us from a potential hazard. It also, my husband's breathing on me in bed, that's so annoying. So I could also feel that. So the gland has this thermal regulation we've talked about, but also when we think about glands, we do think about excreting waste, so that sweat, it's excreted. That's what we think about when we think about excreting. It also is going to lubricate the epidermis, so it pushes through and it lubricates that epidermis. The third part is the nails. The nails don't do a whole lot. They protect the tips of our fingers and the tips of our toes. Our epidermis is made up of stratified squamous epithelium, and it's 5 layers thick. When we think of our skin, we do have those 5 layers. And if we go from deep to superficial, we have the basale layer, the spinosum layer, the granulosum layer, lucidium, and corneum. So the corneum is going to be on top. That's the most rigid layer that's going to prevent any environmental hazards. When we talk about our epidermis, we have our dermal ridges, which is our fingertips, our fingerprints, excuse me. The dermal ridges, when you think of the ridge, you think of the ink on the paper, and you can see the ridges for our fingerprints. We also have our pigmentation. So we have our keratin and we have our melanin. This book is very fascinating, and I'm learning quite a bit. I did not realize that an albino person, a person that suffers from albinism, they have the same amount of melanocytes. The melanocytes just don't work. I didn't know that. That's so fascinating to me, that they still have the cells, the melanocytes, but they don't work. I just thought that was fascinating. The dermis is going to be under the epidermis. It contains our connective tissue. This layer is a deeper layer, of course, so it's going to show our wrinkles. So it's through the epidermis into the dermis, we have our wrinkles. So our stretch marks, not going to show you. I had a twin pregnancy, so not going to show you. And our tension lines. So working in emergency medicine, yep, got some tension lines. Not afraid of that. Our last one we're going to talk about is our hypodermal layer, also called the sub-Q layer. This is made up of the connective tissue and a plethora of adipocytes, an adipocyte being, of course, a fat cell. So this gives our skin structure and stability. So men are going to, as they age, carry their adipocytes, their upper arms, their love handles, and their butt. Women, we carry it in our breasts, our butt, our hips, and our thighs, of course, squeezing into those jeans. So as I think about applications as a physician assistant, there's a lot. Burns. How deep is my patient's burn? How best can I get them thermoregulated, right? That's a huge thing with burns, is hypothermia, and pain management. How many layers does this go through? Do we still have sensory? Do we still have nerve? Are we through all that and they're not feeling as much pain as you would think? So how can I best get them medication? Laceration repair, suturing. Can I approximate this and have dermabond? Is this something that is just a quick lac fix? Do I need to have layers of sutures? How deep is it? So that's injections. Is this a sub-Q injection of epi for an anaphylaxis patient? Is this a intramuscular, so deeper, intramuscular injection of Toradol for a patient in pain? So knowing those layers and knowing how best to help my patient get medication is so important. Corns and plantar warts. This is actually something I'm dealing with right now with my son. It's so interesting how it ties together. I thought he had a plantar wart. Got the Dr. Scholl's kit, did 3 applications, nothing. Saw one of the PAs at work scraping a corn and thought, oh, it's not a plantar wart, it's a corn. Scrape, 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 scrape. Nope, still came back. Okay, talked to the doctor at work. He said, no, I think it's a plantar wart, but you have to scrape, scrape till you get pinpoint hemorrhage and then freeze it off. Okay, scrape, 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 scrape with my 11 blade and get down to the hemorrhage, freeze it off. Wouldn't you know? That's why they make the big bucks, right? But superficial things like we've got the acne, we've got the dermatitis, we've got the psoriasis, we've got the dandruff. Those things, if I go into derm or something like that, those things I can help my patient have a higher quality of life, self-esteem. Is the psoriasis going to, take their life? No. But I want them to be able to wear short sleeves in the summer, right? And not feel embarrassed about a skin condition that they have no control over. So knowing my patient and knowing the layers of skin and how best to prescribe a medication to help clear up that skin condition is definitely something that will make me a good PA and have a satisfied patient. Thanks so much.